Welcome back for another episode of The Beat. Today we are joined by a good friend of your topic now, Ryan Resso. How you going, mate?
Yeah, all good. Thanks for having me on, boys.
All good.
Pleasure.
Back end of the tour now.
Yeah.
How's it
Finished.
been?
Finished.
4 shows, Sydney, Perth, and obviously Maroochydore last night. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot different than the UK, but no, I've really enjoyed it out here.
First time out here, wasn't it?
First time ever coming to Australia actually. So
Hey. Welcome.
yeah, it's been fun. Thanks.
And what did you get up to
So
on your off days?
on the off days, apart from obviously DJing, we've been to the zoo.
You got to
Been
do
to
that.
Taronga Zoo in Sydney to see the fucking kangaroos and the
fucking
koala bears.
kangaroos.
Yeah, can I swear?
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. Yeah, beat that shit out. But yeah, I've been to Taronga Zoo. What else have we been on more?
Quokkas.
Yeah, I went to see the quokkas on Rottnest Island, the happiest animal in the world.
Fun fact: I did not know what a quokka was till you guys said it last week.
Yeah.
You're excited to see him.
Well, they're just like big rats. I don't know if people like me saying that, but they've got like super cute faces though. So yeah, it was good to see the quokkas.
And you did a few nights in Perth, eh?
Yeah.
Went to
So
Rottnest.
we did 4 nights in Perth. We did like a week in Sydney, and then we did like 1 night on the Sunshine Coast in Maroochydore. So yeah, plenty of travelling, like 6 flights I think it's been to
Get
get.
jet lag at the start.
Yeah, jet lag has been pretty intense. I'm not good with jet lag as it is, so waking up like super early in the morning at like 5 o'clock in
Go
the
for a run
morning,
club.
seeing everyone run.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
Yeah,
What was your favourite city?
Sydney.
Yeah,
big-
you
he's just saying that.
Yeah.
No, it is. I mean, I've only seen like obviously 3 places while I've been here, but Sydney's been so good because I just love the atmosphere, the people. There's also a lot of obviously English here as well,
Heaps.
so
Heaps.
yeah, just feels like home in a way.
Quite fair few fans coming out to watch you at our party.
Yeah. I've noticed that like a few of the shows out here, there's always been like a few English who are like working out here full time, and I think they're excited to see like a UK artist
Yeah,
come
definitely.
to Sydney because that doesn't really happen. So that's been
Not too much,
really
no.
nice.
Did you get a few DMs?
Few DMs, few guest list DMs. Got to sort the boys out.
It's actually, well,
Oh.
I was going to say, because you got the DM last week, so we played that show with Luke in Queensland,
Oh, yeah.
and there was a guy from this, I think I was telling you last week, a random country town in
I
Queensland.
think there's
and he was,
Bundaberg, which
yeah.
is like a few hours away from Brisbane.
like in the
mate.
sticks,
Yeah.
and he was right into like your Steph Davids and your sound and stuff. So it's good to see people out here gravitating towards that sound, which obviously we love, but
Yeah.
it's not that common out here.
No, not at all. Well,
Definitely underground music, but as like far as that niche, it's not. I don't think it's properly got over here yet.
no.
Yeah, so obviously in the UK, the sound we're sort of pushing, and quite a few artists are pushing, it's massive. It's what's
Yeah.
sort of selling the tickets. It's what everyone wants to hear. But out here in Australia, obviously it's growing. But yeah, it's nice to see.
Yeah, what's that feeling like of like going across the other side of the world, and you've got people coming out to watch you, and you're doing like your first tour and stuff. What's that feeling like?
It's a good feeling. Like
Yeah.
it's a new sort of thing for me. I've only been DJing out really for the last two years properly. So to come to Australia is obviously quite a big thing to me. So big up Sean for,
Hey.
for sorting that out.
Well, it's kind of crazy that you say like you've only like properly been playing like the big gigs for the last 2 years, but for a few years now you've obviously been like a fan of what you're doing and
Yeah.
what you're doing with WYLD and stuff. So yeah, it's just crazy how like in 2 years you can go from here, you're traveling on the other side of the world, you're playing huge gigs and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like in this industry things can go pretty quick. But you can be like just making beats in your bedroom one day, and then a year later you could be like touring, playing in Australia, playing. I think it's all about obviously consistency, making sure you're being consistent in the studio, and when your time's right, it will happen.
Does it still feel the same as you did a couple of years ago? Like, because obviously in this industry, like you got milestones and goals you want to achieve, and then once you hit them, you're on to the next thing. So do you ever like to take a minute to think, fuck, I'm come a fair way from where I was a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think recently I had that sort of thought when I was coming to Australia. I was sort of looking back on where the labels come, because we've just done the UK tour, and we're just starting the agency, and I've took a minute to look and go, fucking hell, like we've come quite a far way in the last like 2-3 years.
So before we get into all the wild stuff, how did you sort of start getting into music? Were you musical growing up, and how did it all come about?
So the way I got into house music particularly was through my brother. He
Shout out John.
Shout
Big
out
up
John.
Johnny.
But yeah, he did events in Birmingham, our hometown, and I was in school at the time, like 14, 15 years old. He'd go out raving on the
Got
weekend.
the cool brother.
Yeah, the cool brother going out raving. He'd come home like all sorts of hours in the morning. I'd be like getting up for school and shit. He'd be getting home. But yeah, he did like little events at a venue called the Rainbow. Shout the Rainbow.
Big up the Rainbow.
Yeah, it's a pretty iconic venue in Birmingham. And yeah, as soon as I left school, I went to one of my brother's events, had an amazing time.
Were you DJing then or anything, or?
So at that point, when I was like 16, I wasn't DJing, but I quickly got into it.
Yeah.
Because my brother was DJing, his friends were all DJing, so it was natural for me to just get like a Newmark Pro controller,
Start off.
just get a laptop and just start mixing. Yeah, so it happened pretty quickly from going to like my first party to start DJing.
He had a Paradox City. Was that his artist name? He had quite a few successful releases as well himself.
Yeah. So John and his best friend Brady, they started Paradox City. I think they used to DJ as like a duo together before starting Paradox City. So they were always best mates who like played together. They started Paradox City, and yeah, they produced quite a lot of tunes, had some good releases, got their track supported in a lot of places. So that was inspirational for me when I was trying to build my sound. I was sort of listening to what they were playing at their big gigs, what they were producing, and that sort of rubbed off onto me and my sound to this day, really.
Is John still playing or no?
So my brother John, he's sort of going more into like the business side of things now.
Yeah.
So with WYLD, he's a shit hot like a events promoter basically.
He was saying he gets all the hard bargains.
Yeah, we won't say the number.
Yeah, keep that one
The
quiet.
magic number. The magic number. But yeah, he's the man for like the numbers, like crunching the numbers. I just fucking turn up, play, do the marketing and some other shit as well. But yeah, it's a good little thing we've got going on, and obviously it's good doing something with your brother because your blood. Obviously, you argue, you have disagreements, but the next day
your
brothers
at the
again.
end of the day.
Yeah.
And so, how did you go from like a young kid inspired by your brother to where you are now? How did that rise happen?
So I think a lot of it is due to I used to go to a lot of parties. I lived in Ibiza for 6 months at a time for 2 years, and just going to them parties, watching my favourite DJs week in, week out, and just thinking, I want to do this. I want to be that guy like in the booth, like playing these amazing parties with, people surrounding me, people on the dance floor coming for me, and yeah, I think that's how it sort of begun for me.
I think you were saying that you spent every week at Paradise 6 months?
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty intense time. When I was like 19, I did a season in Ibiza for 6 months from like May to October, and obviously like young.
Yeah. Go mad.
Yeah. Like you're in Ibiza in the sun, like parties every day, and one of the parties I just went to religiously was Paradise at DC10, and yeah, had a little place in my heart for a season, and just watching the DJs, as I said before, just how they played, it was like super inspiring.
We were just saying in the car before we picked you up, we were like feel like Jamie Jones is probably, for like an English artist, like an English house artist, he's like
Yeah.
pinnacle in terms of respect and
Yeah, so when I was growing up, when I was like 16, when my brother was doing these parties, he used to show me Jamie Jones's mixes. And I was like, what is this? Like, what are you showing me? I don't get this sound, because I
Yeah.
was so young at the time. But as I continuously like listened to the mixes and then started going to the parties, I was like, oh yeah.
yeah, this is
I like
it.
this. This is sick. But yeah, Jamie Jones is, I think, an inspiration to every single DJ,
Definitely.
every single raver. Just the way he does it, he's so cool. The way he DJs, and also the way he's built Paradise to what it is today as like a global brand. I like find that very inspiring.
Yeah, inspiring definitely for where you want to take WYLD.
Who else inspired you in the early days? What other artists, when you first got into it, were you looking up to, or still look up to now
Yeah.
even?
So I think my first inspirations was my brother and his friends, like just going to watch them, but on like sort of a bigger scale. I think hard to say, like certain artists, maybe like the Boiler Rooms were massive for me. So like watching like Cole Cox's Boiler Room.
That's probably one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic moments.
Yeah, just watching them Boiler Rooms, watching like Jamie Jones's Boiler Room and like the Martinez brothers. They were like a big inspiration to me. So yeah.
What were you doing in like? How did you get by in Ibiza? Were you working behind a bar or?
So I've always worked in marketing.
Yep.
So when I left school, went into like a marketing sort of apprenticeship, and was doing a lot of media and marketing. So yeah, that's how I got by for 6 months.
Working remotely, or is that working
Yeah,
over
working
there?
remotely. So you could just do work sitting around the pool, or like in your apartment with the aircon on. It was like great.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
I'd love to do a season over there.
Yeah. And then, so obviously, a big part of who you are and what's helped you get here today is WYLD. How did that all start?
So obviously, my brother John, he used to run a brand before WYLD was formed.
Yeah.
In Birmingham, which was like a really big tech house brand, and that was coming to like a bit of a standstill. That was coming to the end. I was living in Ibiza at the time, and my brother, we sort of was obviously texting, and we jumped on a phone call. It was like, we want to start a brand, and straight away just got brainstorming on my laptop. I was like thinking of all these like different names. I think one of them was like Wild Dimensions. Just like wanted to like, I was thinking, oh, space, jungle,
Yeah.
all this shit, until we just thought, actually, that's just so long. let's just call it Wild with a Y.
It's such a sick name, WYLD.
Yeah, so it's sort of like what it says it is. So it's
Yeah.
like a wild party, a good time. Someone actually come up to me at the show in Sydney the other day at the boat party and was like, does WYLD mean what you love doing?
He's
I
not
was
wrong.
like, yeah, it can do now.
Yeah.
It doesn't, but actually a few people have asked me that. And
I actually really like that.
yeah, I might fucking hell. I might make that. I might make that the slogan now.
Mate, I reckon we should.
Fits the
Yeah.
bill.
Kudos to whoever that was.
Yeah.
So
Shout out Sean.
Big up Sean. Oh, is that the young bloke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a young lad,
Yeah,
super hungry guy.
yeah,
Definitely.
he's been in touch with us a few times.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the Switch,
He
actually.
messaged me the next day after you introduced us at Switch. Yeah,
Yeah, seemed like a nice
keen to
kid.
get on at some stage.
So when WYLD started, did you start the label simultaneously, as in releasing records, or was it parties first, then label alongside it?
So we first begun with the events, and it was a bit of a shit one really, because it was like the start of lockdown. So our first event was a week before lockdown started. So we was like the last party.
That's kind of good though. Like that bit in terms
Everyone
of your
just
last party.
remembered the party.
Yeah.
And that first party was insane. We had Rich Next, we had Ben Sterling,
Fuck.
For a first party, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Bloody
It's-
hell.
Alicia and Rossi as the
Oh,
secret guest.
Holy fuck.
And then the after party, like Birmingham people know, it was in like a chicken shop. It sounds a bit
I need to
horrible,
see
but
these,
it was like it was really good.
See some videos of that.
Yeah, I'll show you some. But Rossi played back to back with Ben Sterling and Rich Next for like 4 4 hours.
Fuck.
Till the sun come up in a chicken shop.
Wow.
So, yeah, the videos went crazy, and then we just went into lockdown. So with the record label, as lockdown sort of kicked in, it was like, right, what are we going to do now? We can't do events anymore. So
Yeah.
let's
release
release some music.
Yeah, because I remember, I think I started producing just before lockdown, like end of 2019, and WYLD was one of the first labels I remember liking, and I was like, this label, love the sound. And like Sean said, we've been following your music since then. So that would have been what,
now, yeah.
2020? Were you producing long before that, or did you like probably get into it when you decided to do the label?
Yeah, so with the producing side of things, I actually went to music college for 2 years while I was doing an apprenticeship, but I didn't really get on with it. It wasn't catered towards the music I wanted to produce, so it was a bit. I didn't learn too much. I probably learnt more from going onto YouTube and taking little courses on my laptop.
So was it like a production course?
It was like a
or-
music production
more
course.
broad?
Yeah,
Yeah.
more broad. So sometimes they weren't even teaching you how to make 4x4 beats. It was like all sorts of
Might a
genres.
bit like live school.
Yeah, you don't use Ableton, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Ableton?
Yeah.
Must be thinking of something. Anyway, when I started, I did it, and then Sean did it as well. It's called Ableton Live School, and they teach you like music theory, sound design, arrangement, all that stuff. But same thing, it was more broad.
Yeah,
so
it's
you go
not-
in 1 week,
yeah.
it'd be like learning like break beat, and the next week it'd be
Yeah,
four on
yeah.
the floor. So, but I think at the same time there was like Syntho was just starting as well, and then there was also Lee Foss was running a thing during COVID, and he had like a bunch of producers on that because there is a lot more out there these days as well.
100%, especially within like the last maybe 2 years, the last 12 months, the likes of Syntho popping
Yeah.
up, and Kepler's got some
Kepler's
sort
is
of,
good. Yeah.
online courses, and it's a lot more accessible these days to really, like, if you want to produce a certain sound, you can find tutorials for that.
It's
so
never
easy.
been easier. Like you can search, like if you like to make like that 90s house sound that is really popular at the minute, you can search on YouTube how to make 90s house, and there's
about 100 videos.
100
Yeah.
videos, and there's all these different courses that people have got, like there's Patreon courses and stuff like that. It's
Yeah,
never
yeah.
been easier.
Are you out of the box, or you have hardware or integrating?
So I'm pretty much in the box, to be
Yeah.
honest. I just produce from a laptop, like a MIDI keyboard. Try and keep it simple. Try and use like a few plugins, not too many. Don't like to complicate things. I like to keep it simple. What I know.
What are your go-to plugins, or is that one a secret?
I mean, I can say I like to use Massive.
Yeah.
Massive is a good plugin. Sub-boom bass.
Sub-boom bass.
Where your bass lines are made, because you're very distinctive. The rolling kind
What's
of
that, sorry?
your bass lines,
Yeah.
they're very distinctive. Like you
Yeah,
can tell
that's
it's
the
a Ryan
secret.
track.
That's
Yeah.
the secret.
Have to get that one off
Yeah. I'll send you the preset.
My man.
Wait.
Fucked up. And it flipped off.
Yeah, no, because your sound and the WYLD sound is very distinctive as well. I think
Yeah.
that's why, like, probably part of why it's been so successful and popular is that it's always the same, but it's just like peak time rollers, like
Yeah.
good house music.
Yeah, like it's been quite fun building the sound. Obviously, we started, and the first release was actually from Rich Next and Ben
It's a good way
Sterling.
to kick things off.
Did you hear that EP? I don't know if you ever.
What
I've
was it?
probably what's the
It
track
was called Mr.
No,
Flamingo.
Mr.
EP.
Yeah, I know the one.
Yeah, remix from Rich Next.
Remix
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Ben Sterling.
Oh, Sterling, yeah.
Rich Next gave us 2 tracks. That was sort of post our launch party where they both played. I sort of hit him up and was like, "Shall we do an EP?" And when Rich Next said, "Yeah," I was like, "What?" Like I couldn't believe it. He
'Cause
was like such a big artist to me at that time.
You've released on his label, am I correct?
So I've done a mix for What Next
Yeah,
on
mate,
SoundCloud, but I haven't
Right, I
released on his
thought-
label.
I swear I've seen it.
One day.
Yeah, one day.
What's been your favorite release you've had? Or maybe most significant for you in terms of like a moment where it was a real pinch me moment that you've got to
So-
a label that.
Signing to Piv on their VA, that was like a big moment to me. It was a track called Stop the Fridge, and just
Good
I
tune.
love Piv. I love what they do. They really resonate with me as a label and as a brand. I love Prunk, so yeah, to have that release on that label was really good.
One
And
of the
also-
biggest house brands in the world.
Yeah, yeah, like what they've done and how they've built it in Amsterdam. It's really cool.
You know what it's called, Piv? very, very simple.
Think about invite.
VIP backwards.
Right.
That's it.
Hey, it fucking works.
Yeah.
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 Learn something
king.
new every day.
Simplicity's king.
And so the music policy for WYLD, how would you describe that?
So when I'm booking a DJ, I always, as well as their productions and their mixes, I like to look at the energy they bring. I like someone who's got a bit of an aura about them that can read the crowd, especially in our main room.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be
The stage presence has got to be
stage
there.
presence,
Yeah.
and that's what I look for when I'm sort of booking DJs
Yeah,
for
definitely.
WYLD.
Need that energy to connect with the crowd and stuff.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the label as well, what are you looking forward tunes? Like, are you looking for the next thing that you think's coming on the horizon, or do you just have you hear a tune and you think that's it, that's perfect?
So it's a tricky one. We get sent a lot of music through like Track Stack, and you have to filter through. Like you get sent say 400 tracks in a month. There might be 10 which are good. So what I normally do is not good, but might be
Suited.
amazing and
Yeah.
suited to the label, which we might release at some point. So what I normally do as the label owner is I'll follow them, maybe like just talk to them, see if they've got any more demos, and the release might not happen at that point, but I know within like the next 6
Yeah.
to 12 months they'll keep sending music, and at some point they'll send the one, and it works. You can build the EP. So it's a bit of a process to release with us, I'd say.
Is that
Go on.
I was gonna say, is that what guys like Steph and Chopper, and is that what happened with them, or are you just
Yeah.
mates with them and you've developed together?
Yeah. So Steph, shout out Steph.
Shout out
We're
Steph.
a big
Like,
fan of Steph.
That guy's a wizard, man.
Absolutely.
I've done so many collabs with him, and he's super easy to collab with. He's such a nice guy.
How old is Steph?
I think, don't quote me on this, maybe I think he's a little bit younger than me, maybe like 23 or 24.
Mate, it's
Not fair.
It's crazy. I
Dutch
think we were
boys.
saying in the Luke, in the podcast with Luke how like all the younger ones from like the UK and Netherlands and stuff are all producing from such a young age. It's
Yeah.
not to, most producers aren't starting here to like mid-20s and later on.
Yeah.
That's not to say there aren't younger producers over here, but it's like in your DNA kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's one of them things now where it's so important for DJs to produce. So it's sort of like bred into them. You need to
Definitely.
produce to get the bookings and to grow as an artist. But yeah, so with Steph, the way we actually released the first track with him was Love Yourself Anthem,
Yeah.
which was, it went massive. But I knew that the first time I heard the track. So he emailed into our demos email, and I knew his name, like, because of his Burning track with Another,
Yeah.
which is obviously massive. I was like, oh, I'll listen to this,
Yeah.
check this out. And it was like one track, and I listened to it straight away. I sent it to my brother. I was like, we're signing this tune. So, like, within like a week, it was signed and it was done. And then from there, just continued to talk to Steph, and we like started collabing, and yeah, we just built a really solid relationship together.
Microhertz released together. as
Yeah,
well?
we did the Aeroplane Mode EP with another track called Give Me More. We've got a track called Side by Side, which East End Dub played at Music On Festival in Amsterdam. I was behind him. And he,
Did
and
you
he
know he was going to play it? or-
didn't know. And he turned around and was like, I was like, yes, I
Big
couldn't
up-
believe it.
Big up, Marco.
Yeah. Nah,
Nah,
East
East
End
End
Dubs.
Dubs.
Oh, sorry, East End. I've got fucking Marco
Yeah.
in my mind.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a big moment. And then, so yeah, with like Chopper and Finky, they were just sending me beats consistently for like 6 months, a year, and I was playing them in every single set. I was like, I'm playing so much Chopper like tunes, so much Finky tunes, and it just got to a point where it's like, let's
Start.
working
Mates, isn't it?
together, like releasing together, and it just happened so naturally. We get on, we're all friends, and yeah, it's really good.
Are they UK based? Finky and Chopper?
Yeah, so Chopper's based in Maidstone, Kent, Finky, that way as well. So somewhere like London sort of based. So yeah, not all of our artists and people we work with are like based in Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Like people are all around really.
What is the scene like in Birmingham? Because I mean, from over here, obviously it's a long way away, so we're not completely tuned into the scene in Birmingham. But it seems like WYLD's definitely like up the top as far as events. What else is happening in and around Birmingham?
So there's a main venue in Birmingham which is called Lab 11.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Lab 11. If you're from the UK, it's like a bucket list venue to play at Lab 11. So to be that party who is doing that sound at Lab 11 is an honour for us. But yeah, in Birmingham, there's plenty of little smaller parties doing stuff, which is really cool. Just like building their own thing, which is nice to see. But yeah, I love Birmingham. It's obviously it's the second largest.
Just got relegated.
Yeah.
Oh, what a hero! What a hero! Wow.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about that.
How's your team going, bud?
It's all right.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah. It's like last night in Maroochydore while I was playing, like we were checking
Checking
if Blues had been like relegated. Yeah, and it's like, oh, fuck.
I was saying him in the car. I think the fans went onto the pitch after he's won the game, only to realise
Yeah,
after.
to realise
How'd they
it was
still
done.
get kicked out then?
I think
Aggregate?
the other game after finished was at a later time
Oh.
or finished after or something like
Yeah,
that.
there needs to be a certain result.
Yeah, fucking hurts.
That's why I do music.
Yeah,
That's why I always
exactly.
say when my
Yeah,
team goes
yeah.
shit. That's why I do music, because there's always winners.
You don't get hurt like that. So is house the main sort of sound in Birmingham?
So in Birmingham, bassline's actually pretty big. I don't know if do you listen to that in Australia, like
Not
sort of
like what?
speed garage,
Yeah.
bassline. That
There's
sort of stuff.
like Speaker are just having a bit of a moment
Yeah.
over
Pretty
here.
big moment, actually.
Yeah.
It gets mixed up in techno, though, as well.
Yeah,
Like
or
garage and techno quite.
warm
But there's
basses
not
and
there's
stuff.
not like bassline.
Yeah.
Drum
Not
and
like
bass is
UK.
actually having a bit of a moment as well. But not bassline. Yeah.
like that UK bass.
UK bassline.
Yeah.
So one of the bigger promoters in Birmingham is called Shorters, and everyone knows Shorters. He's just like a really fucking sick promoter, and he pushes that bassline sound massively, and that's really big in Birmingham. Don't know if you've ever heard the Trap Birmingham crew. I won't sing it now.
Go on.
You have to listen
Go
after.
on.
But yeah, after this, listen to Birmingham crew. It's, that's like a staple.
I'll
tune.
have to have a listen. And so most of the parties you're throwing, like I know you've done the tour, but are most of your parties in Birmingham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last 4 years, we've just done parties solely in Birmingham, and we've just built it up there. Like went from maybe like 300-400 people now to like 2,000,
Insane.
even 2,500 people a show. And now we're obviously doing the UK tour, which we discussed. We did Leeds, Nottingham, Manchester, London, and we just started. It was the right time to start to branch out to these new cities, and I think it was a good choice.
Good reception in each city.
Yeah, so London sold out, Mint Club was nearly sold out, Nottingham was sold out, Manchester is end of June at the Loft. So get your tickets.
Might have to
Yeah,
change
there's
the
only like
flyer.
100 tickets left for that. So I can't
That's
wait.
insane.
It's been like really well received.
Must be a crazy feeling to obviously like first of all smashing it in your home city, but then taking that across the whole UK. It must be a
Yeah.
crazy feeling.
Yeah, it's nice to go to these like certain venues and people come up to you and say like, I love what you're doing. I love your sound. I love WYLD. I love your productions. It's a nice feeling. Feels like you're on the right track when
Definitely.
people are coming and saying these things.
What? Oh, you go.
Where was the best reception you got? Probably besides Birmingham.
I think London is always good.
What venue was that?
93 Feet East.
Oh, sick.
So if you haven't been to 93, like
Definitely like
everyone knows that venue. It's the sound system in there is phenomenal. Like as a DJ, when you're playing, like I don't know if you ever get this, like every single track you drop, doesn't matter
Just-
if it's a banger or like a roller,
just hits.
it just hits and everyone's whistling. Like it's just a good atmosphere.
Yeah, love it.
It's like there's a party in Sydney. It's called Sutra Sunrise, and it's like a lot of the demo that go there are like European or South American backpackers, and they just love it. So the party goes from 10 p.m. till midday the next day, once a month, and
Scenes.
every time a tune drops, everyone's just like
Yeah.
whistling, like it's just unreal vibes in there.
Yeah, I think as a DJ, there's no better feeling than getting received like that, especially a whistle. I love a whistle.
Yeah, we always say the same.
Like my brother, he does a really good whistle. So I'll be on the dance floor at WYLD. I'll be like, go on,
Go
do
on.
a whistle."
Go on.
Yeah, gets the crowd going.
And is it sort of like your Finkies and Choppers and stuff? Are you getting them on most of those lineups? How's it work?
Yeah, so obviously now we've started the talent stuff.
The agency.
You know, the agency with the bookings and the management side of things. So naturally, there are our boys. So Finky, Chopper, Levi, Steph, Furzer, Ryan Nichols, the likes of these guys. Just we want them at every party. They know the sound. They're their family. So
There is a good crop, I feel like, in the UK, like a good crop of artists that are all coming up at the same time, like between yourself and Luke and Max and Chopper and Paige. Like, there's a really, like, the scene's like really popping right now as far as people shooting up and like all pushing each other.
Anytime soon.
It's crazy. Like, it is very popping, and like these upcoming artists are getting really well received at the moment, and it's good to see.
And you've also had quite a few big headliners. Your next one's was Pawsey, next one.
We can talk about that. Yeah.
Doesn't get much bigger than that,
Doesn't
really.
get any bigger than that.
In English scene.
So it was quite a process to get Pawsey on for us. But when we got that email saying it's confirmed, I was like,
you would have been jumping up and down,
running around my room like fucking buzzing.
So which one have you got him on for?
It's our summer opening party.
Awesome. Where's that?
At Lab 11.
Shit.
So I'm playing before Pawsey on that show.
You a bit nervous for that one?
A little bit. We'll have to go to the studio and like practice again before that one.
The first mix.
But we had Rossi on recently as well.
Absolute dime.
And that party, I want to say it was probably our best one yet. Just because like we got like a new sound system in, new production, and everything's just
working.
It just worked. So
I think, sorry, you continue. I was going to say that Rossi, because we saw Rossi play at Sash last year, and you were talking before about the auras when the DJs come on. Like when he came on, you could just feel the energy just rise in the room.
Yeah.
I was sort of watching him and like how he does it, like the way he just like loops tracks and builds that tension. So important.
Masterful.
Yeah. So when we had him on, the energy was just insane. Everyone's like fucking jumping up and down, like limbs going everywhere.
He's got that good stage presence. Like he connects well with the crowd as well. He's not just.
And I think his sound is so, like every tune just sits right.
Yeah.
That's what I sort of noticed. There was no tune which is like, you can play a little bit of a flat tune, or everything was just like pumping.
Yeah, he just
perfect.
Just knows what works and
knows
what
works,
doesn't.
exactly.
Yeah, obviously curates his sets and playlists and stuff really well.
Who's your dream booking then? Doesn't get much bigger than Pawsey, but who's that? Would it be Jamie or someone like that?
Yeah, 100%. Jamie. I mean, I'd love to have Jamie on.
If you're listening, Jamie.
Yeah.
Jamie, come play for us,
Tag
please.
Jamie in the comments.
Tag him up. Obviously, we've had Hot Since 82, which was a dream booking for me.
Yeah, we do love Hot Since 82.
So he's like such a nice guy.
And he's got quite a versatile sound as well. He can play the more melodic stuff. He can play your tech house and stuff.
Yeah, he can play at most parties. I think he does. He plays at like Paradise, Solid Grooves, like even plays more melodic nights.
Yeah.
As well. And he's a really humble person. Like when you speak to someone at that level and they just speak to you like a friend, it's nice to see. And we've also had another on.
Yeah, and they're fucking absolutely.
So they've just skyrocketed now. But that was also a dream booking. But other than that, probably Jamie if I had to pinpoint one.
Yeah, he's just the DJ's DJ.
They're done.
Someone who everyone looks up to.
Yeah.
And then, so with the agency, how did that come about?
So it was just sort of a natural progression thing, really. Like, obviously, we started the record label. We were doing the events. That was growing. We were sort of playing a lot of this new talent, playing their music, playing their unreleased stuff. And it just become this thing. It's like, why don't we do this? And we just set the motions in, and it just become what it is now.
And is that you and your brother?
Yeah. So it's just another arm of the WYLD business, really.
Yeah. And so obviously, I don't imagine you're on the emails, email up notice. Can we get that's your brother's job?
So yeah, John's normally doing that, or Jamie. Big up Jay.
Yeah.
Big up Jay. We love Jamie, but yeah, one of them boys will be
leading the charge. Yeah, I was saying to the boys how easy it was dealing with your brother to get you out here. You know how some agents can be like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here with your brother? It was very straightforward. Let's make it happen.
We like to keep things simple. We like to work with, good people, build relationships, and we're not shy doing that.
Of course. And is the plan for the agency? Do you want to kind of keep growing that thing, bringing the next crop through?
I think for now we want to focus on
what you've got,
the artists we've got. we don't want to like grow too
Yeah,
much too
Of
soon.
course, yeah.
We want to focus on our guys and building them as much as possible at the moment, and then maybe when the time's right, it will
Expand.
start to go a bit bigger.
And so, is there 2 other people working at WYLD?
So at the moment it's just obviously me, John, and Jamie, and then obviously on event days we have artist liaisons like Mikey, Alex White, big up Alex and Mikey.
Shout out Alex.
we have my girlfriend Morg.
Hey,
Yeah.
shout out.
She helps out, like she's really there for me with WYLD, so got a shout out Morgan as well.
Interview her soon.
Yeah.
Interview.
Yeah, she's definitely going to get involved more with what we're doing, and I think we're getting to a point now where we need to just keep growing the team because it's getting like a lot.
Yeah, and you can't just rest on your laurels, kind of thing
exactly,
as well.
Yeah.
More hands make light work.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, European summer coming up. You got some big bookings. Piv just announced. What else is in
Yeah,
the works
so-
that you can share?
So my main sort of shows that the exciting like big ones are obviously Ibiza, which has always been a dream for me to play on the island.
Taking the photo at the airport.
Taking a photo at the airport straight away, straight on the Insta.
Yeah. That's you've made it when you get to
Yeah, I'm waiting for that moment.
That'd be pinch me though, from like what 5 years ago living there to
Yeah, from like going to these parties, especially the Piv booking at Cova Santa. I was at Cova Santa last year
You were saying how much you love.
at Kaluki, and I used to go to Cova Santa all the time. I was like, I want to play here. I need to play here. So when the conversation started to play at Cova Santa, I was like, we need to get this done. And yeah, when that got confirmed, it was huge. But yeah, so with the European stuff, Ibiza, I'm there like 4 times. We're doing Malta, a lot of UK stuff, playing in Italy again with Give Me House, who's a really good club in Turin. So I played for them guys a few months back, and the energy's insane. Like the Italian crowd, really
Luke
good.
was saying,
Yeah.
Let's go hard.
Yeah, they go hard. It's like, you're talking about the South Americans, how they just like dance and
Yeah.
just, like, love it.
The Italians like that.
It was like that as well.
Are you sort of pinching yourself like obviously things are close in Europe, but like Italian promoters are flying you out, parties in Ibiza.
Yeah, so that's, I think, every DJ's dream is to play in different countries. Like, it's good playing in your own city, and even playing in different, like, it starts like you want to play in your own city, then you want to play in different cities in the UK, and then to get like flown out to different countries, that's like the next step. So to get like flown to like Italy and like obviously Australia and stuff like that, it's amazing to do that.
Does Morgs go with you to most of the trips?
Yeah.
He-
Morg's
days.
there, like tour manager Morgan.
on the socials.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, she's got like, she's wicked photographer, but also she's just up there for me, like, yeah, she helps out a
Supporting.
lot. Yeah.
making sure you don't miss any flights.
She, yeah, I'm probably more organised to be honest. But, yeah, she keeps me like level-headed, grounded, just make sure I'm on my
On your best behaviour.
Yeah, so it's good.
And so how do you manage the workload, when you're travelling and you're jet lagged, if you have a big one, getting back into the studio, how do you manage that all?
Yeah, sometimes it can be difficult, to be honest, like getting back into the studio. Motivation, it sort of peaks and troughs. I think most DJs probably find that.
Comes down to the discipline, I guess.
Discipline and just making sure you're getting it done. Even if you're not in there for hours on end, just trying to get in there and doing a little bit every day or every other day.
Repetition.
Just trying to be consistent, and I think that's the best you can do, really.
And are you self-teaching just now, or are you still like using other resources?
Yeah,
and-
so I'll always be looking on YouTube for like if I want to, get a certain sound or use a new plugin or something like that. But for me, it's like trial and error. Just trying until it works, basically.
And do you bash tunes out quickly, like quick writer, or do you sort of
I
stew on
think-
them for?
I think for me, like you can get an idea down in a day pretty easily, but then you've got to fill the tune out to make it
Definitely.
professional, like doing the effects and doing the fills and all that sort of stuff to make it a releasable track. That takes a little bit longer, so maybe 2 days or 3 days on a track.
And how many hours a week do you reckon, on average, you're spending in the studios? Like a few hours a day that you're aiming for?
Yeah, it's probably like a few hours a day. It all depends on like week on week, but you can spend like maybe 5 hours on a day working on music, and then it gets to a point where you just
Scrambled.
and it's better to just call it a day.
Yeah, there's no point.
Go
trying to
back
push
in
it.
tomorrow, and fresh ears, get a coffee, and just crack on.
Go for a
Nothing
run
worse
club
than
here.
when it doesn't come together. Like we were
Yeah.
saying before, you spend a whole day and you just
Oh, you had a shocker this weekend.
Yeah, no, we won't talk about it.
It's just frustrating when you get a whole day because you're like, got the whole day to go at it, and then 6 hours later you're sitting there like, what the
I
fuck?
feel like sometimes when you're working with a limited time frame, you're actually better.
Yeah.
Luke was saying, so he only had the free version of FL for like 6 years, and you can't save projects on there. You can only export. So he can write a tune like that because he had to learn to just write it in a day.
That's actually quite clever, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I think that's one of my problems is that I just stew on things too long or like take too long to.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't like to do is like I won't spend like an hour trying to EQ a snare because I just find it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I'll always do that after. I need to get the idea down while I'm creative and in the moment, and then afterwards I'll start to worry about the EQing and all the boring things.
And what's your daily schedule like when it's not music? Like, are you going to the gym? Are you watching the football? Or
So I've got a pretty like I'm a creature of habit. Like I've got a routine in place. So I'll wake up in the morning. I'll go like straight to the gym. I'll do a workout for an hour, and then I'll come back. Maybe do some like admin work on WYLD or other things I'm doing, and then I'll just sort of get in the studio for like a few hours, work on music, and then throughout the day it's just doing more admin stuff. Just now and then. That's it really. Just the same old stuff every day, and then the weekend is touring or
go time?
Seeing your friends and all that sort of stuff.
You kind of got to stay on top of it like that. Otherwise, you just fall too far away from everything.
Yeah.
You need routine.
Yeah, and that's why it's been like different in Australia because I feel like I'm eating more.
Going
Like, I'm on holiday. So.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy yourself. And then, so is it you and your brother doing the A&R stuff for WYLD, or is there a team?
Yeah, so with the label, it's mainly me who does the A&R with the label. Just trying to build that sound that we really want. The bouncy, sort of groovy house music. So yeah, it's just me working on the A&R for WYLD really.
And what's the release schedule like for the rest of the year for yourself and for the label?
So for the label, we've just released Chopper's EP. Levi Swan's EP is coming out in a few weeks, so be ready for that. Be ready for that. Beatport pre-order when it comes. But yeah, we've got. I think he's doing an EP. I think all of the lads are going to be doing an EP. I'll be doing an EP. Just talking to a few artists at the moment about getting them on board.
Any big guns on board you can share, or the guitar's off camera?
Yeah,
We'll
maybe off
find
camera.
Yeah.
And you were saying before, at the start of the label, you guys were kind of reaching out to different acts you like, and now it's more a process of everything just coming your way and working with what you got.
So I think it works like both ways. Like maybe the bigger artists, they won't approach you as much, or if you really like someone's sound,
Go to them.
Yeah, you need to go to them and have the conversations. So that's what I do sometimes. And obviously, if they like the label, then they'll just send you some music, and you can just try and.
You'll never be short on tracks coming through.
Yeah, especially like since obviously Track Stack's come out.
It's been huge.
Yeah.
They've nerfed it a bit, but you can't just send it to anyone now. Before you could search for their name. Now you need to have the link to send tracks to them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been
I didn't know that.
Probably just got a lot of shit coming through.
there would have been just a lot of shit. Like your producer from day one be like, oh, I'm going to send fucking Jamie Jones a track.
Yeah. Sometimes you get like unmastered tracks and you get all sorts. So you got to sift through it. But you can get some like amazing tracks, and it's a really easy way to work through unreleased music, basically.
Do you know, like within the first few seconds of listening, if it's going to be a good track, or do you give it a chance a little bit and skip through? Or
I normally listen to like a few seconds, skip through. You know straight away.
Yeah.
You know straight away if you like the sound and how it's going to fit in your sets. Yeah.
And so, what's your individual release plan looking like? You've got a few releases lined up.
Yeah. So currently we're in discussion with. I don't know if I can say this. I don't know if we can say it. I don't know if we can say it, but yeah.
A big one, obviously.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I don't know if I want to say it on camera because it hasn't been confirmed or anything like that.
Say it's a big one.
Yeah, so a big one coming. But yeah, other than that, just working on WYLD EP, working on loads of new music at the moment, and then ready to send it out for the summer. Yeah.
Do you set yourself goals like I want to release eight EPs or like 8 tracks in a year, 4 EPs?
Yeah.
Like what's
so the way I sort of do it is I've got like a Google sheet. Some people do it on like whiteboards or just sort of set out my calendar for the year, and like I want to release every 2 months, 3 months. So I just try and make sure I'm being consistent with releases, which is sometimes hard because sometimes you're waiting for labels to reply and they're holding tunes. So yeah, it's a tricky one, but just trying to monitor how when you're releasing is always good to being consistent, basically.
And how often are you trying to release?
I'll probably say
ideally.
Yeah, probably like I want to get something out there like every 8 weeks. I don't think when you're too quiet for a while, obviously it's probably not a great look. So trying to release like every 8 weeks and staying fresh and that sort of stuff.
I suppose that helps having your own label, because if things were getting held up by the labels and whatnot, you can just go bang on.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of having your own like a platform to release on, is you can just release whenever you want. I could release a track tomorrow, like if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the beauty of that.
And then in terms of, say you've got a tune, you really love it for WYLD, but maybe you're not sure how it's going to be received. Will you send that out to obviously industry people and stuff as well and see if they're playing it out and that thing first before you release it, or you just back yourself and say, I love this track, it's going to perform well for me?
Yeah, so with that, I normally test it because I'm playing, most weekends. I'll test that in my own sets. And if it's getting a great reaction, then it's like, right, let's sign this. But, sometimes the reaction can be not as good. So it's back to the drawing board with it, really.
And can you look at it pretty objectively, do you think? Like if a track fits WYLD style, like say you make something and it's not quite WYLD style, but you still think, I want to release it on WYLD? Or how do you look at that?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I get sent so much music which wouldn't actually fit on WYLD, but I'll play it out.
Yeah.
So I'll just support the music through my sets instead of releasing it on WYLD. We've just recently started the Bandcamp thing, which is for more like, edits that probably
get cleared and stuff.
All that sort of stuff. So yeah, we started the Bandcamp stuff, which is really cool. I think Bandcamp's a great platform for new artists and finding new music. So yeah, definitely started using that a lot more now.
And what are some of your dream labels you'd like to release on? You've already ticked off a few of them.
Yeah, I ticked off a few now, like Microhertz, Kaluki, Piv, Deep Effects, and a couple others. But I think in the future, definitely Piv again. EastEnders would be a big one for me, like EastEnders, Belief, Hot Creations, of course.
Yeah.
Hot Tracks, the Heavy House Society.
Heavy House is awesome.
Next Up now. Obviously, they've started their label, so Next Up at some point would be great. And there's probably a load more, but
so there's always goals to keep on.
There's always goals,
yeah,
bro.
You just can't stop, kind of thing. Yeah, and then goals for the future for yourself. What
goals for the future? I think the big goal is obviously to have the residencies in Ibiza, in Miami, with the brand and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, for now it's releasing music like on bigger labels, probably more consistently, playing at the big label showcases, playing at the big venues, and just getting my name out there a little bit more.
And what are some of those dream parties and venues and labels you'd like to play at?
I think probably it's like the likes of Solid Grooves at DC10.
Solid Grooves, yeah. Mega.
Like all the Ibiza clubs, Space Miami, which we was talking about the other day.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So
I feel like Space.
They're closed for the summer, it looks like.
Oh, really?
Is it summer? Yeah, summer. They're under construction.
In summer, they're closing.
Saw a post today. Yeah.
I would have thought they would have put that off to winter.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like the whole summer, but they're
Yeah,
closed for a
right.
bit because they're renovating.
Yeah.
But yeah, that club looks. I feel like it's one of them places where in the videos and photos, it looks cool, but it doesn't look like get the whole vibe.
Yeah,
but once you're there, I feel like you get the proper vibe of
Yeah,
it.
when you walk in, like I didn't realise how like big the place is, and then obviously you got the inside room as well, because on all the videos you just see the outside terrace.
Oh, so the
So they've got
another
like
room in there.
they've got other rooms in there, and it's just massive, and it's crazy in there.
Yeah.
What's your favorite venue that you've played at?
My favourite venue I've played at, Lab 11 is got to be up there. But other than that, 93 Feet East is great. Mint Club is also great.
It looks cool. Yeah.
We're talking about Colorado Charlie in Netherlands. That was a really good venue. Like it was like a Sunday daytime with Luke Van Dijk and Sidney Charles, and the place was packed on like a Sunday. The weather was like shining. It was like on the beach. So yeah, that was really good. That was really cool. Yeah.
Is there any countries that in particular you want to get to?
I think probably playing in like Amsterdam and the Netherlands more.
It's a huge scene there.
Would be good. Like the producers coming out of there, like the sound, so good. So yeah, probably playing in the Netherlands a lot more, and maybe the USA and these sort of places. Maybe South America, because it looks crazy out there.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Netherlands is like the hub for just dance music in general. Like even like hardstyle's massive over there and stuff like that. It's sick place,
So
isn't it?
yeah, I've been to like Musicon Festival. Been there like 4 times.
Yeah, that
Which is very like a lot of the UK like people go to Musicon Festival.
Brits abroad.
Yeah, Brits abroad.
Yeah,
But it's like you can't have a bad time in that place.
we were saying the Music On would be one of Music On Festival would be one of the number one parties we'd want to play at.
Yeah, just like the DJs there. Like,
The lineup's always just class, like head to toe. It's just
every DJ you want to see is there, so you
And
can't have a
they've
bad
got like heavy hitters right from open as well. I was looking at Ellie.
Yeah.
The show was opening the last one. and
Yeah, I was
stuff.
there for that actually. She was like opening, and then I forget who was playing after, like Calvin Clark and Ali Tatuglia. So yeah, it's like from the off, it's going
just,
off.
It's just big hitters.
Yeah, it's going off.
Are you going this year?
No.
Oh, gutted.
Sometimes it's a bit harder now to like go to these festivals, because when you're touring, you have
Yeah.
to sort of, you've got your own schedule, but when you like can fit it in.
It's You
Then
probably
you-
don't get too much time to actually party as such these days.
Yeah.
You've got to be a lot more mindful
Yeah,
as well.
you sort of you party at certain parties that you're playing at. Do you know what I mean?
Have
So-
your blowout here and there.
Yeah, have you blow out here and there, so you don't really feel the urge to go out and do that as much when you're touring and you're around the party, lifestyle quite a lot.
And how are you getting to most gigs like in England if say they're 2-3 hours away? Do you get the train?
Well, you
or-
can get the train, you can drive. Like driving's
Do you drive often to your gigs or prefer
Yeah.
to have a few drinks?
depends. Like if you get a hotel for the night, then you can just
Yeah.
drive up, park up, and then drive back the
day.
next day. Especially if you're not drinking, or mainly driving, or you can get the train. It's not like Australia where you have to get a fucking 5-hour flight.
It's closer to go to other countries instead to Perth. from Sydney.
So, Sydney to Perth was like 5-hour flight, which is
A
crazy.
long
You
time,
can
yeah.
drive from like one end of the
Yeah, you
UK
can
to
head
like,
to the other
it's
side.
like,
Yeah.
like 6 hours or 7 hours. So
That flight's horrible, eh?
it was all right. We just
Really?
like
I
you
hate
stick
that
on a
flight.
film like or
Did
whatever.
you watch a bit of what was the show? Married at First Sight. Did you watch a bit of that?
Yeah, Married at First Sight Australia. That's a wicked show.
Yeah, Then,
So much drama in that.
What are you looking most forward to when you get home, Greg's?
Sausage roll. Definitely not a Greg's. Probably just the simple things like going to the gym. Maybe like
Sunday roast.
a roast dinner.
Yeah.
Getting a Yorkshire pudding
Yeah.
down you.
Right, Yorkshire.
Yeah. So just looking forward to probably getting back into like a sleep and a bit of a routine and back in the studio. Back to it all
Is your next party this weekend?
this week.
Oh, straight
Oh,
no,
fuck, it's this
straight back
So
into
like
it.
we land on, I think it's Wednesday, and then Saturday back to it, and it's my birthday, so
Hey, happy birthday!
we're celebrating.
It's kind of a good thing going straight back into it, I guess.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
Say you didn't have a gig on this weekend, you might be a bit more inclined to, sleep in, take a couple of days off. Get straight into it.
Yeah, I want to get straight back into it, to be honest. I
Yeah.
just want to get back into things like as soon as possible.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. All good. Thanks so much for joining us. Pleasure to have you in Oz.
Cheers,
I'm
mate.
sure we'll
Thank
be
you.
seeing you soon anyway.
Thanks for having me on the pod, boys.
Pleasure.
Yes.